returning reader, and today I'd like to present to you my official September TBR. I have to make an honest confession here. I filmed this video yesterday, and then I was so super excited to read the books that I read one of them last night and the other one early this morning. I went to go edit the video on my computer, and the file was corrupt. I will tell you what books I read and how they ended up on my TBR, failed TBR, and B, do my very best to include the books that I was going to read from the previous video, because as you'll see today, I'm doing a TBR game. If it works out today, I'd like to keep doing it for future TBRs as well. Books that I read from the failed TBR include Homeroom Diaries. This was my most recently acquired pick. I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. As well as Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. This was my pick for classic, and I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. So the reason that it might be different books is because the prompt, depending on what prompt I get from the game, I have to choose a different book. But there are a few books that I will do my very absolute best to include. And then there are a few books that I was so excited to read that if I get the opportunity, I'm going to choose them anyway. I am not the first person to make a TBR game. Other booktubers have done it in the past. I mostly got the idea from Cody's Book Corner. I will link her channel down below. She's really funny and cool. You should go check her out too. After you finish this video, of course. At first I was thinking about doing a wheel of TBR like Cody does for her channel. But then I was like, oh, but I don't want to steal Cody's idea. I want to do something of my own. So I figured out a way to make my favorite board game into a TBR game. So let me introduce you to my very favorite board game. Can you guess what it is? I bet you can't, but I bet you'll know it. If you know that this board game exists, you probably know this my favorite. And my favorite board game is the Lord of the Rings board game, adventure board game. So this is essentially a Lord of the Rings tabletop role-playing game. And you play as one of the characters, and you have to, it actually goes through like the entire 3 movies, where you go to Rivendell and meet your friends, and then you go to Mordor and destroy the ring. It's really interesting. So I figured out a way to make this into a TBR game. Let me go ahead and show you. So we're going to go ahead and play it on my desk here. And basically we're going to roll the dice 10 times. So for each dice roll, we're going to move Frodo that number of spaces. Here's Frodo here. We're of course using Frodo because he's the main protagonist of the series. Although I've always much preferred Legolas and Aragorn. First off, I'm just going to close my eyes and choose a random and just put Frodo randomly on the board. Okay, so the rules for this game are, whenever possible, I'm just going to move Frodo in a straight line. I'm not going to try and aim for a specific spot or anything based on like the prompt or whatever. I'm just going to move Frodo in a straight line according to the dice roll. We'll roll it 10 times, and 10 is kind of the basic number of books I read a month. Sometimes I get a little bit more if I'm feeling really ambitious, but usually 10 is about a good base amount. So we're going to roll it 10 times, and for each roll we're going to choose a different book based on a prompt. And let me go ahead and show you the prompts that we have. So these are all the prompts that I'll be using for this game to start off with. First off, we have plain brown squares, which will be the Year of Asian Stories readathon. I will link my full blog post down below explaining what that readathon is and what my books are that I'll be reading for that. Basically, it's a year in which that I will be absorbing Asian stories. So it's pretty self-explanatory by the name. And while I change all the prompts once I land on them, the Year of Asian Stories prompt is staying on the brown spot. Then if we land on the any Forces of Sauron spots, we will be choosing the box of reading, and I'll show you what that is later in this video. Spoiler alert, it does come up. A fiery red spot will be a short read, which is under 300 pages. A light blue snowflake spot will be a classic. A dark green snake will be a reread. A purple spot will be author love, but this is an author I've read before and I know I like. A leafy, this is a flower symbol essentially. This will be the most recently acquired book, so this is where I find the 5 books that have been most recently come into my possession and choose one of them, either from the library or buying them or receiving them as presents. And Brown is going to be a TBR veteran. This is basically a book that's been on my shelf for a long time, and I still haven't gotten around to it. Okay, without further ado, let's get into the game. Roll number 1. We have a 5, so we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it's a plain brown spot, which means we are reading a Year of Asian Stories book. And appropriate to it, I've used a shuriken magnet to attach that prompt. My first prompt that came up was Year of Asian Stories, and I already know what I'm going to choose for this one. I don't own it at the moment. I have to go get it from the library. I will be reading Orange by Ichigo Takano. This is a book that I actually don't know anything about. Apparently it's a girl in 11th grade who received a letter from herself 10 years ago, allegedly, saying that she has to save this boy in her class or whatever. It looks really interesting. I saw it on a couple of other booktubers' channels, and I decided to go ahead and just pick it up. Roll number 2. 6. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so we're about to go off the board again. So let's just go ahead and take out another board. Ooh, Mount Doom. See, Minas Morgul, Mount Doom, and Barad-dûr. So for this one, I'm not going to try and as long as the advanced rules for this game say that as long as you connect the pathways for the character to keep moving and stuff, I don't see a pathway to keep Frodo moving, so along that path. So we're gonna have to go back 3. 1, 2, 3. So we're gonna go ahead and do 6 in the other direction instead. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and we need yet another board. All right, this one is Hobbiton. This one should have plenty of pathways for Frodo. 5, 6. Okay, so this is another plain brown one. So we've got 2 Year of Asian Stories books this month, sorry. We had a second Year of Asian Stories prompt, so I'm going to go ahead and choose, if it wants to come out, Grimgar, Fantasy and Ash. This is a light novel series that inspired an anime. It's kind of like Sword Art Online, where they have people who are stuck in an online game, I think. I don't know. But it looks super interesting. I picked it up randomly the other day at the bookstore, and it's super interesting, and I'm so excited to get to it. So, Grimgar, A Fantasy and Ash is going to be read this month. Rolling number 3. 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And we're running out of space on the board again. This was much more organized when I did it last time. 8. Ooh, a blue spot. Which means we are going to be reading a classic. Okay, so prompt 3 was to choose a classic, The Horse and His Boy. Now this is book 3 in the series. It never actually got a movie adaptation, unlike Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe and Prince Caspian and the Voyage of the Dawn Treader. I think because this one apparently takes place... Ooh, there was a bookmark in there. Cool. Read and succeed. Now, I think because the movies wanted to focus on Peter, Lucy, Susan, and Edmund as the main characters, they picked the books that had Lucy and Susan and Edmund and Peter in them and kind of ignored the Horse and His Boy, because this apparently takes place to someone inside of Narnia during the time that the 4 siblings are king and queen of Narnia. I don't really know much about this book, so I'm just going to give it a read. And we're going to go ahead and change out the prompt. So we're just going to turn them around like this. There you go. Like that. And I'm just going to close my eyes. And I'm going to go ahead and choose that one. Ooh, YA. So, I love YA. A majority of my library is YA. And so if this comes up, I can just choose a book that is YA. Any book. Roll number 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Ooh, and it's landed on YA again. See, YA. I'm actually going to go with a book that has been hyped a lot here on BookTube, but I still don't know anything about it, The Raven Boys. The only thing I know about it is that it has an awesome friend group, and I am trash for awesome friend groups in fiction. Yeah. Also because Books and Lala is doing a readathon for this series this month, so I want to at least read book 1 and participate in the readathon. Switching out the prompts again. We've got our prompts, and I am not looking, Adaptation! So, if this one comes up, I will read a book that has had a book-to-movie adaptation or a book-to-TV show adaptation. Well, number 5. Okay. Number 5. Okay, so I kind of want to go back over there and go to Mount Doom because we never did get over there yet. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Alright, so another blue spot means we're reading an adaptation. Alright, the next prompt that came up was adaptation. So I'm just going to go find a few books that have an adaptation, book to movie or book to TV show, and then choose one of them. I have found a few books that have had an adaptation. My options are I could reread The Fellowship of the Ring, which I've been wanting to do, and I've also been wanting to rewatch the movie. I could also read and watch The Lightning Thief by Rick Riordan. We also have Inkheart by Cornelia Funke, which got a really bad movie. There's also Prince Caspian, which got a movie adaptation. The Memory Keeper's Daughter. I've been meaning to rewatch this movie actually. It's really good. And of course, Game of Thrones, which had a very awkward TV show adaptation. I'm torn between either Inkheart or Prince Caspian. I really want to reread Inkheart because I read Dragon Rider last month and I kept telling myself I'm going to put Inkheart on my next month's TBR however possible. But it's a gigantic book. Like, this is a chunker. It's like 548 pages, I believe. Yeah. And then Prince Caspian would be preferable because it's shorter. I think I'm gonna go with, you know what, I think I'm gonna see what else comes up this month, and if I have a lot of like chunky books and stuff, I'll choose Prince Caspian, and then if I have a reasonable amount of stuff and I can handle another big book, I'll pick Inkheart. And choosing again. I am not looking at these. And I'm not looking at these. And we have, ooh, Random Clow. This is a really fun one. If you've ever seen the anime card Captor Sakura, you will have heard of the Clow cards. They're basically magic cards she uses for her to harness her powers. I have an actual replica set of them. And they actually can be used for fortune telling and things like that too. So if this comes up, I will choose one of my Clow cards at random and then choose a book based on what that Clow card does. 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Forces of Sauron, which means it's time for the box of reading. Box of reading! I'm so excited! Oh my god, you guys, I'm so excited. It finally came up. It finally came up. You guys, I am so excited about this. Next we have the box of reading, and maybe Inkheart or Prince Caspian will show up in here, in which case my decision has been made for me. But basically what I've done is I've taken the title of every single TBR book I own, both Kindle and physical copies, and I've written them down on little slips of paper here. But basically what I'm going to do is I'm just going to reach in and I'm going to pick one out, and that one will be the book I read. Okay, we have one, and our answer is, well, would you look at that? We're rereading Harry Potter. We are rereading. The box of TBR has commanded us to reread Harry Potter this month, so we're going to reread Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. Actually, last month when I finished Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, I got a good chunk of the way into Order of the Phoenix. So I'm already on page 523. So this is technically not going to be a very long read for me. I don't know if that's cheating or not. But whatever. We're reading Harry Potter! Yay! Ooh, and it's a 7. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Whoop, where was I? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And we've landed on a green leafy spot, which means most recently acquired. So our next prompt is most recently acquired. Here are my 5 most recently acquired books. So we have Percy Jackson and the Olympians, The Lightning Thief. A World Without You by Beth Bevis. Then we have The Luck Uglies by Paul Durham. Mark of the Thief by Jennifer A. Nielsen. And Girls of Paper and Fire by Natasha Ngan. I'm totally butchering that name, aren't I? I'm definitely choosing either Girls of Paper and Fire or A World Without You. And this cover is really drawing me in, so I'm going to go ahead and read Girls of Paper and Fire. I'm going to go ahead and choose again. I'm not looking. Ebook. So if this comes up, I have ebook. There we go. So if this prompt comes up, I have to choose an ebook, which is a real big challenge for me actually, because I really do prefer reading paperbacks and hardcovers. And we've gotten a 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're choosing another Year of Asian Stories. So our next prompt was for the Year of Asian Stories readathon again. So for this one, I'm choosing Japan America: How Japanese Pop Culture Has Invaded the U.S. This is a non-fiction book detailing how anime has become popular in the United States, obviously, from the title. I've had this for a while now. My dad gave it to me for Christmas like 5 years ago, I think, or something. I wasn't too interested in reading it back then, but now I am more interested in it. I'm really interested in seeing how anime became so popular over here, because I don't know, I'm just kind of fascinated by like the fact that it's huge, and yet China and Korea, like Korea's kind of got something going with the K-pop scene, but like China has yet to figure out the same way to touch people as anime. 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Ooh, a fiery card. Which means it's time for a short read. So the next prompt was a short read, so I'm going to go ahead and choose a book that came up in my TBR yesterday in the TBR video that got failed to film. And that is Castle in the Air by Deanna Wynne-Jones. This is actually one I've been anticipating for a long time. It is the sequel to Howl's Moving Castle, which I really enjoyed very much. I gave 4 stars. It apparently has nothing to do with Castle in the Sky or Howl's Moving Castle. Howl and Sophie are only in it briefly, apparently. I'm not looking. Nihongo! Ooh, this is interesting. So many of you probably may or may not know that I speak and read pretty much fluent Japanese. So I actually do have a few books in Japanese I've been wanting to read. So if this prompt comes up, I'm going to pick one of the books that is in Japanese. Here we go. 3. Now, do I want to go backwards or forwards? Forwards, I think. 1, 2, 3. And it is Nihongo. To be fair, with that last roll, I would have landed on either a plain brown or a fiery one, so it would have either been Nihongo or Year of Asian Stories, and there are Nihongo books on my Year of Asian Stories. Okay, so the next prompt that came up on the reading TBR is Nihongo. So let's go ahead and take a look at what Japanese books I have. We have a few options for this. Our first option is Haikyuu, which is the light novel that inspired a TV anime. Then we have this one, which I totally don't know anything about, Neko no Oshiri ga suki nan desu, which the title translates to I like cat butts. Then we have something that I've been meaning to read for quite a while now, Lucky Star Volume 9, Breaking into Japanese Literature by Giles Murray. And we also have Ginban Kaleidoscope. This book is so beat up, oh my god. This is a light novel about a girl who is possessed by a Canadian ghost, and she's aiming for the Olympics in ice skating. She wants to be an Olympic ice skater. I think for this month I'm going to go ahead and go with Neko no Oshiri ga suki nan desu. Earlier in the video you saw me wavering about which book to read, Prince Caspian or Inkheart. I'm going to go ahead and read Prince Caspian. I've been really into this series right now, and I really just want to keep reading it. I'm going to go ahead and read Prince Caspian, and then also rewatch the first and second movie. So Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe and Prince Caspian. So this is my TBR for this month. So there we are, there's the full TBR. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. Leave a comment down below telling me how I could possibly improve this video. If I need to change the angle or whatever to make it more interesting, or to make it more legible or anything. Please like and share this video on your social media to support my content. hit that subscribe button and click the notification bell to join the notification squad. You get extra bragging rights. Here at the Discerning Reader, I give you the book recommendations for books that you should be reading, because finding good books shouldn't be a chore, so I do all the hard work for you so you can spend more time reading. Thank you very much for watching. I hope to see you in the next video. Bye everyone!